Hey guys, how's it going? This video is going to be another short video-ish. I just got done doing the assembly of that, which was pretty darn easy. So I thought I'd do this next, just so I have all this stuff ready for when I actually pull the motor out of that. So let me unbox it and get everything set out, and then I'll tell you what stuff goes. This is the 2-ton engine hoist. Alrighty, this one's a bit more involved. Practically nothing is assembled on this one, unlike how that one, the wheels were already on it, and you know, practically those legs just slid on there. That bolted on, that slid on, and that slid on, or bolted on. So that was pretty easy. This one, pretty much have to assemble everything, which, I mean, isn't bad. First thing I'm going to do is install all the wheels on everything that has wheels on it. Get a bag of bolts that has all the small bolts and the pins for those big pins, small clips for those big pins. So first thing I'm going to do is put these wheels on everything, and it looks like, alright, well that answers my question. Not all the holes are tapped. So these short bolts go in there, and on the back of this tube, the upright, there's a handle that goes on the back of it. That uses all these small bolts. All these small bolts go there, and on the back of here for the handle. All the other long bolts go there, and then on the legs for the other wheels. So let me go ahead and put the wheels on. Again, all the holes that are tapped use the short bolts. All the holes that aren't tapped use the nuts, washers, lock washers. So let me go ahead and put the wheels on this part, and I'm going to go ahead and put the wheels on these parts too, and then I'm going to go ahead and slide the pins through. Alrighty, here's a tip out there. The ones that need bolts and nuts are the ones that you can barely get to the inside to. Even if you have small hands, you can't get your hands through here. I was able to get those by sticking my hand in there, but it's a pain in the butt. A trick: get some tape on your wrench. This is 9/16. Put the nut in there first, put the lock washer in there, put tape over it. Now, what we can do is fish this in there, look through the hole, line it up, and then screw the bolt in there, and then you can pull this off. That's a tip, because I don't care how small your hands are, unless you're a little kid, you're not going to get your hands down in through here. There you can get your hands through if they're small, but if you're big, you're SOL. So that's just a tip. Alright, well, this is the next day. I decided to stop. Yeah, I just looked through the instructions on these bolts. They don't tell you anything about any size bolts or anything. They just say put a bolt here, put a bolt here, put a bolt here, put a bolt here, and then give you the bleeding instructions for the jack. They don't tell you what size or anything. And these bolts are the most messed up thing I've ever seen, because I mean, I guess these two are supposed to be the same size, possibly, maybe. But they're not really. They look like they are two different size bolts, kind of. I mean, they look different. The quality control on these are horrible. I mean, look at these. Those are definitely all the same size, but they're different. Those are pretty easy to tell they're the same. You got these two. That one's different. That one's different. Like I said, those two look the same, but at the same time they look different. And then you got these two down here that are different also. So, unless that's supposed to be... No, that's too long. I mean, this is just... It's a hodgepodge. Figure out what bolt goes where, basically. Is what I'm getting from this. Yeah, well, these two are supposed to be the same size, kind of, sort of. It looks like it, but threads... No, this is a completely different bolt. The shoulder's bigger. So what the heck? Oh my goodness. Well, I definitely know two of these bolts go here to hold the upright on. The other two probably go down here. Yep, to hold the. So the 4 bolts both hold up the upright, and they hold the upright up, and they also hold the braces in. Let's see. This bolt's longer, so possibly this bolt goes in here. Yep, that bolt goes in there. So the bolt that's kind of like these 4, but a little longer and a little fatter, that goes through the cross pin. Man. This big old bolt right here has got to go through here. Yeah, this big fat bolt goes through the slide. This short bolt I know goes on the jack. Now we just got to figure out where those 3 go. One of these hold on the chain. I think this one might hold the chain on. Yeah, this one holds the chain on. Okay. Okay, no. This bolt right here, the shorter one, holds the pin in. This one holds the boom on. Yeah, this one holds the boom on. Okay. And then I guess this other one holds the bottom of the... Yep, this small one holds the bottom of the jack on. So, yay, I figured out where the bolts go, but daggum. So you got 4 bolts that are the same size. It holds the uprights, and it holds the supports. You got the short bolt that's for the top of the jack. This bolt is for the bottom of the jack. It is just slightly longer than that one. The one that's slightly longer than that one, you put down here on the end for the chain. Okay. The one that's practically the same, you hold the slide with it. Or, wait a minute. Yeah. And then this fat one, I'm confusing myself. This fat one, the one that's even longer than that, probably the longest one, the longest big fat one, goes on and holds the pivot. And is that everything? I think that's everything. Man, this is just stupid. So, oh man, that's just yeah. Hopefully you got all that. Alrighty. These are all 4 of the bolts that are the same size down here. Tip: when you put this on, don't thread the bolts in all the way. Just don't thread the nuts in all the way. Just put the nuts till they're smooth on the bottom, where the bolt comes up and the nut's smooth on the top. Because if you tighten it all the way down, these uprights don't fit. So you have to actually have this leaned back a little bit so you can get the bolts through it. So when you tighten this down, it's going to pull on these, and then when you tighten those down, it's going to twist these where they need to be. Just like the engine stand, they doesn't have it twisted right. So when you tighten the bolts down, it retwists the supports. But then you get the bolt that's a little bit thinner than this. I don't even think this bolt would go through. So not the big fat bolt, but the one that's the same, roughly the same size, but skinnier. Yeah. You obviously tell the head's different. Heads on this one's bigger, the one's a little bit smaller. Put that one through the top. Now I think I'm going to tighten all these up. I got to get my sockets back out and figure out what size that is. It'd be big. Alrighty. These, the four that are the same, are 7/8. Use a 7/8 and a crescent wrench and my impact. This one for up here is 15/16. This one up here is 15/16. Again, use the impact and a crescent wrench. Now, I think I'm going to put the boom on. Or you know what? I think I'm going to attach the bottom of the hydraulic piston. So yeah, I think that one is, that goes on the top for the boom. That goes on the top of the piston. See, that goes there. That will not go there. So it's got to be this one. Yeah, it's got to be this one. Okay. And that one is the same as, almost the same as that one. The shoulder is a little bit longer. The one with a little bit longer shoulder goes there. Alrighty. Alrighty, got that one tight. Now, don't go He-Man on it. They honestly need to include some spacers. They need to include some spacers for here and here because this wiggles around way too much. And they need to have a lock nut right here. Tighten it down, but like I said, don't He-Man it because this thing needs to move. So I tightened it down till this right here just started to bow in, and then I left it. That's going to be something to keep an eye on because that's not a lock nut. If that was a lock nut, you could just tighten it down where the lock nut meets, and then you can have this free floating. Or better yet, put spacers on the side. I mean, they kind of put spacers on the side, but either the jack has changed over time, or it's just poor engineering. But there really needs to be some kind of spacers here. Better yet, like bearing spacers. I say bearing spacers. A tapered bearing, probably. But, you know, those would be way too big. It's a poor design. Honestly, this needs to be a lock nut so you can tighten it down to where you can have this pin still free floating side to side. I would honestly go get a lock nut that would fit that. A nylon lock nut. So you can tighten it down where this pin will still free float. I mean, it's fine now. But again, meh. To me, that's a design flaw. From an engineering standpoint, that is a design flaw. I definitely wouldn't have designed it that way. I would have either made this wider, where again you could have spacers on the side, and hell, a spacer for the center. But get a spacer that would fit in the center, and get a spacer for each side. That way, when you tighten this down, you could still move it technically. Or, better yet, again, lock nut, nylon lock nut. Nylon lock nut with small spacers. That would work. Anyway, that's my little engineering rant. So, next to attach the boom, you attach the boom with this big one right here. So, I'll be back. Alrighty. I got the top piece on. Again, I would have included some spacers here and here. Even a big old washer. Same thing down there. If it's a big, fat, thick washer, that would be perfect. And I would also include a sleeve for right here. Again, nylon lock nut. But these are bigger than an inch. My socket set over there that I have close to me, inch is the biggest I got. I have sockets bigger than an inch, but not, I gotta go dig for them. Way bigger than that. So I just used 2 big crescent wrenches. To be honest, you can assemble this whole thing with 2 crescent wrenches. Some areas are a little trickier than others, like those tight areas down there would be better off for an impact or a ratchet. But next thing I'm going to do is I might have to bleed this piston. Oh, that doesn't go any higher. Yeah, it does. Kind of. That's going to fall down there and hurt me. Oh, never mind. I can pull this up. Oh, no, I can't. Let me pump this up. I might have to bleed it. Go through the bleeding procedures in the manual. Oh, that's the fill plug, ain't it? Wow, that is janky. But it's Harbor Freight. Get what you pay for. I think that is the fill plug for the hydraulic fluid. But anyway, I'll be back. This one right here, this little short stubby fat one goes right here and right there. So I'll be back when I get that on. And I don't remember if I videoed doing that. I'm trying to charge the AC in the Sonoma. I tightened this up. That one is 15/16. And then I put the sleeve in, and then there's two last ones, a smaller one and a bigger one. Put this one in. This is 15/16. It doesn't matter where you put these. You don't have to tighten these too tight. You know, again, it just depends on what reach you need, and also, you know, that it lifts 2 tons, but only when it's all the way back here. It lifts 1 ton when it's right here. It lifts half a ton when it's right there. Half ton will be fine for this motor, but I like 1 ton. And then the small one down there, you bolt down for the hook. The only thing that's left is using these last bit of short bolts. You bolt the handle on the back of it. It bolts in right here, and then it's used to move it and push it around. So you don't need that necessarily for the video. I mean, it's just what were those, 10mm or something like that, or 10mm, 9/16. Yeah, 9/16. Those are 9/16. So yeah, there it is, all put together. I know this was kind of discombobulated with the fact that none of the bolts are labeled. None of the bolts in the manual are labeled. They just throw a whole bunch in the back and say, put this bolt here, here, and here, and here. And I can show you. Put it in the base. Put the pins through. Bolts. No size. Right here. Bolts, washers, and nuts. No size. Same here. All these bolts. No size. Same thing with all this. Bolts. No size. The only thing that's really, honestly important in this whole manual is right here. The bleeding instructions for the jack. That's honestly the only thing that's useful in that manual. All it gives you is pretty pictures, no bolt sizes, no bolt, no information on any of the bolts. Just put this bolt here, 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 and here. So, get what you pay for. But, I mean, I don't know how often I'm actually going to use this. I mean, this is the first thing I'm going to be using it for. I got it. Well, I don't know if I'm going to pull the motor out of my 91 or not. I might get another used motor. If this goes over well and this one's running, if I get that other motor in there and it's running, it's good, everything's fine with it, and I'll probably pick up another motor at some point. But honestly, I'm going to try to fix that motor in the 91 because it's only got a crack about 4 inches. It's not over a foot long like that one is. Anyway, that's another video just about the jack. Yeah. This one's about the 2-ton engine hoist. So, yeah. And then all you do is fold these up, pull those pins out, fold them up, and then put the pins right in there. And like I said with this video, when I built that one, it's going to be more stable than this one is because this one only has 3 wheels. But at the same time, it still can tip over if somebody tries to climb on it. So definitely don't put it where, if you're going to put it against the wall, put this side against the wall, because it's not going to fall backwards with the big base in the back. So that facing out, and the legs when it's lifted up facing towards a wall or chained up something, especially if you have kids running around. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, the next video I'm posting is going to be more on working on this. Either tomorrow or Thursday, I plan to get up under there and get the motor out. Don't know how successful I'm going to be. It might wait till the weekend, but like I was saying in the other video, I got a little over 4 weeks to get this done, get the engine out, get everything swapped over, modify the alternator bracket, move the alternator from the top to the bottom, get everything back together, make sure it runs. And then I got to order control arms, coil springs. I'm going to take everything off of that one, my 91, and put it on this one as far as the cooling system, because I'm changing it from the closed system that this one has, because they had a pressured overflow bottle, and I'm going to move it, and I'm going to move it to the newer ones, how it's got the the non-pressurized washer bottle. Delete as much vacuum as I can, Then I got to order at least tires, if not wheels. And I want to order a locker for the front. That might not happen, but I'm definitely going to weld the rear end if it doesn't already have an LSD in it. But I just need to get this in, get everything running, and get it, get the front lifted, and then put tires on it, and then I can run it on June 16th. And if something breaks, something breaks. But hopefully not. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.